Election day is coming. Do you know who is running to be your advisory neighborhood commissioner? My name is Janelle Alexander from DC North Star, and we interviewed several candidates, and they're going to tell you a little bit about what their platforms are. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Erin Palmer, and I'm running for ANC 4B02.
What is the most important issue facing your single-member district, and how do you intend to address it?
Thank you for that important question. I think one of the most important issues in the neighborhood is the safety and walkability of the streets, which includes everything from walking to the rec center to take a class, to walking your kids to school, taking the bus, driving, to commuting to work via metro. And more specifically, when I think about that issue, the 4th Cedar Blair intersection comes to mind, which is the intersection by metro that has been very problematic for some time, and the subject of planning and meetings and consideration for almost 15 years now without action. So one of the things that I have been thinking about is how to coordinate with the adjoining single-member districts, which would be 4B01 and 4B07, to be very firm and in contacting the DC government agencies and demanding a timeline, better communication regarding the planning, and also once the changes are implemented, analysis of whether they're working and how they might be further improved upon.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the pace of the city's development? You can answer this in regards to Walter Reed development or the city's comprehensive plan.
Sure, thank you. The pace of the city's development is a complicated question. We, as a city, are welcoming lots of new residents, and that's a good thing. Families and people coming for school or for work. But we're also losing residents as they are struggling to stay in their homes and in the city overall. So I think the pace of development is fine, but it should be very thoughtful in terms of how to respect the people who are longtime residents and support them as they try to stay in their homes and apartments, while also making some space for new folks coming in. And I think there have been some very notable successes with the Walter Reed development, including the HELP development, which is for homeless veterans, and then the Abrams Hall housing for seniors. So there seems to be a good focus on making space for people who need affordability and need housing within Walter Reed, which is great because it's a currently unused space. So it really is an opportunity to both welcome new people and create affordable housing. I think that's all.
Thank you. This commission struggles to work together at times. How will you work with the residents and other commissioners when there is a continuous issue, or contentious issue?
Sure. I think that's a very important question, and one that ANC 4B, as well as several other commissions, struggle with when there's interpersonal conflicts and even differences of opinion based on different constituencies. I think communication and education with constituents is really, really important because it allows you to get a broader swath of feedback and make sure that you're hearing not just the loudest voices in the room. There have been all kinds of studies lately about the demographics of people who are most vocal and most influential in local meetings, and there needs to be a conscious effort to include more voices. And people will then feel more invested in the process, and that will hopefully smooth over some contentious issues. In terms of fellow commissioners, I think it's important to understand where people are coming from and to always be respectful, even though you might not agree. I think that goes a long way. And I work for the judiciary, which is, at least in theory, an apolitical branch of government. And I have seen my mentors and judges I work with in action in terms of how they communicate in a way that's both persuasive and respectful. So I would try to model that.
Why are you the best person for the job? Why should your neighbors vote for you?
Thank you. Well, it feels a little bit self-indulgent to talk about why I think I'm the best person for the job, but I do firmly believe that. I think some of that is my temperament and my judgment. I am both respectful and constructive, and I think that I am very capable of finding common ground and actually moving an issue forward on the spaces where people can reach agreement. I also come from an enforcement background, an ethics enforcement background, so I think I have the right skill set to encourage and foster accountability, whether that's DC government agencies or within the ANC itself. And I also have a demonstrated commitment to community building, which I think is really important and often overlooked in the ANC context, because community building can both help you build relationships with constituents so that they then can approach you and talk to you about issues, but also helps the community come together and figure out what its priorities are as a collective.